You are listening to
The Free Amigos.
Hey, I'm Casper.
I'm Mark.
And I'm Tony.
Welcome everyone to podcast number 14 of the Free Amigos. And today it's going to be a special one because we're going to talk about all the previous podcasts that we did and what we learned from it and all the things that went wrong and where we laughed, where we cried and all the special moments. But of course I'll introduce my other Free Amigos. Mark, how are you doing?
Yes, very well, thanks mate. Had my hair cut today. So that was literally a weight off my mind. Been wearing a hat now for about 4 months, so I'm pleased to see the back of that because it was kind of falling apart. So yeah, it's nice. It feels like officially the end of lockdown. So yeah,
nice and fresh start.
Fresh start, exactly, mate. Yeah, even though the weather's not brilliant.
Yeah, look tidy, Mark. Nice tidy trim there.
Yeah.
I've got to wait till next Friday for mine.
Are you going to have a haircut too there, Tony? How's everything on your side?
Yeah, all right. So our hairdresser's booked in, I think, for next Thursday or Friday just before we go on holiday. So I'm looking forward to that. Get my ears lowered finally.
And it's a special day for you today, as it's your daughter's birthday. Congratulations.
It is, thank you. It's Gracie's her 6th birthday today, my youngest. So yes, she's very happy. Bought her a new bike, some new toys, a drill. So she's a very happy girl.
A drill?
Well, that's unusual.
Yeah, a little play. She likes tools. Her cousin's Tommy got like a tool set, and she loves playing with all of his tools and his drills and stuff. So I bought her a play drill to play with. So she's happy. And she's playing some dentist Play-Doh at the moment.
I thought that you actually tried to encourage your daughter to help you with the work on the house you're doing at the moment. 6-year-old.
They don't need encouraging.
Come on.
They love it.
Here's a drill.
Get them shelves up, will you?
Yeah. Hang up that flat screen TV for me, will you?
Now. Yeah, all good there. All good.
Great one. Hey, I collected some of our best moments, our favorite moments, and the thing I want to start with is actually like we had such a growth within this last few months on starting up a podcast, something that we never did before. None of us had ever done something like that before, and one of my favorite things is that it went wrong a lot of the times as well. And I think it was the very first podcast where your children walked in there, Tony.
What's new?
You tried to whisper to the children, Daddy's on the phone, forgot that you actually have a microphone pinned to yourself so everyone could hear it. And so
classic. Let's
just listen to where our surroundings intervened with our professionality.
Go on then. Yes, Mummy, Daddy's on the phone. Okay. You know, like the on-air lights outside my door?
Yeah, we should have that. Yeah.
From green to red when we're recording, yeah.
Mm.
That's what I need for season 2. I need an on-air. I just turn it on air, off air.
On air, off air. Yeah, I've got the good thing here is that when I'm on the phone and on the call almost the whole day for all kinds of sessions, and everyone is tiptoeing around me, except for the Indonesians. They don't really understand that. So I get interrupted a lot, but people go like, "Do you want another beer?" No, I'm on the phone. I'm teaching. I'm in front of a class, and then they just go and look in my camera and go like, waving at everyone. Hello. Those are that's my client back in Holland. Yeah.
I mean, it's been challenging, like you said. My daughter shouting in the background of these pods, trying to pull me away to play with her and this kind of thing. So
I'll just play that little bit.
We are co-creating with the universe. I firmly believe that. But if with the right tools, the right beliefs, the right skills, the right community and support, that's it optimized, you know? Oh, look at that cutie.
Oh, we got a new member on the podcast there.
She's so cute.
Here we are. She's up.
La Nina.
She can't see anything but her hair, but she's up.
I just woke up, look. Here's the crazy Dutchman.
One of the podcasts actually ends with your daughter shouting, "Daddy!"
Daddy, yeah, I remember that one.
Such a lovely ending.
We used to, this time of the day here would be her sleeping time, so I try and time the pods around that. But when she ditched her nap, it was just there'll often be just chaos going in the background as my wife was trying to kind of going in and out of her bedroom, and it wasn't working. So I'd be on mute a lot of the time. But yeah, there have been some funny moments, particularly on that Florrie pod where we were getting all deep and spiritual and talking about the nature of consciousness, and then a guy comes round, rings the doorbell, saying, I'm ready to change your toilet seat. It was kind of, but it kind of worked. I was just talking there about the balance between, you don't want to go too off into the clouds. Oh, I'm a soul, I'm a spirit. You still have to live this human life, and you've got needs to attend to, and that kind of like just summed it up for me. You've got to have a foot in both worlds almost. Yeah.
It was. We could have ended the podcast there. We could have
yeah.
Et voila. Yeah. Point through with you. I really love that as well. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. It's all about balance.
It is. Yeah, Mark. What was one of your favourite moments that
well,
sometimes we have been just having this podcast, we all on a call, and sometimes we have been, the three of us, just been silent for. Some people had stories that we just, and we had moments that we literally, like I said, we literally had tears in our eyes in some of them, or we were just baffled by the things that people said, and amazing, inspiring, or really sad. And what would be your favourite from you, Mark?
I think we'd all probably be along the same lines with two of them, which is the first one, I think, Simon's story. I mean, you can't help to be moved by that. I mean, it's...
well, after he told that story and how he lost his young son, right?
Incredible pain and suffering that he's been through and obviously still goes through. We all know that.
Like, wow, that was so unbelievably inspiring and moving. It left me a bit speechless, I have to say.
But I did... I mean, we were all kind of struggling for words, really, halfway through that pod. What do you say to someone who's going through something like that? It's really tough, and we all sympathise and try and help him our own way. But there was a quote in there as he sort of finished that story and sort of moved out of it.
Well, let me just play it. I'll play it.
Play it, yeah.
One important thing, and I also think that is something I'm not sure if I want to do, but I think somehow, someday I will do, is to tell people about the importance of life, how important life is, that we should embrace every moment of it, because, that is my experience, and this is what this experience taught me, that life could end at every moment, unprepared, and we never know when, how. And with this in mind, if we keep that in mind, I don't, I don't need to think about it. It is in my mind. So with this in mind, you will live differently, because your life will be, you have other values, you have other things you want to achieve, and you want to make the best out of your life, because you don't want to waste your life. You don't want to waste any day of your life again. Never ever again. Yeah, and that's a place where I think there must be something called purpose. That I'm here, that I can learn from this, that maybe someday I will be able to help people because of this experience, help people who are going through similar situations.
Like with anything, I think eventually you can take some ray of light out of it. And he was talking there about what he'd gained, this perspective that life can end at any moment. And when you fully realise this and embrace it, you suddenly have a new appreciation for life. And you realise that you don't want to waste a day of your life again. And that is incredible, really, because, we all go through these really dark times in our lives, but I really think that they're teachers, first and foremost, and if we let them, they really can help us to evolve. And to take that insight from something so dark is incredible. You know, to live every day like it's your last. Don't waste the day again. You know, it was really powerful for me. So, yeah, I thought that was a really special moment.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. And this is the funny thing as well, is that for me, like, we talk about a lot of really difficult moments, and like I said the other day, is that you managed to insert the Dark Night of the Soul. Well, you managed to introduce the Dark Night of the Soul, at least the saying, and you did it. You managed to do that in every single podcast. And the Dark Night of the Soul, of course, is that amazing positive thing, so that you go through the dark spaces and you use them to create light. And I found that really fascinating in all of the podcasts that we did. That every single person had this down moment and found their way out and created newly found life there. And what I like so much is that that's one of my favorite moments, is the variation that we had in not between the different podcasts, but within a podcast, as in a waveform. We could talk about really deep, dark or difficult things, but then someone would make a stupid joke. And so one of my favorite, and we were just talking about something serious about how to set up an online business and how to set up marketing and everything. And then that was with, and I have to look this up in my notes at the moment, so in the pod with Tommy, suddenly his whole room was for sale.
Marketing these days, I think, is all about like following what you want to do, what you're passionate about. Like I've got these like new what do you call them, lenses for like on your thing. You know, those are marketable.
You mean like lenses for
marketable? The apps.
Lenses for on your phone.
Smartphone.
Or for your smartphone.
Yeah, for on your thing. Yeah.
These
cones, these particular headphones I sell. Like, I mean, everything here, you know,
is for sale.
I use everything's for sale, guys.
No, yes.
Let's go.
And he's got like a couple of proper headphones there for the people that are not watching and just listening. If you want to buy a proper old headphone, I see 2 snares over there. Yeah, there's you can start a band with that room. So there's a couple of microphones over there as well, and it all goes for the same price. I will put them in the link in the description again. They go for €5 a pop. So. This is your chance.
At bankrupttommy.com.
Hey, am I good at marketing or what?
He's going to be back on the road again soon.
I'm broke.
And so the thing there is, what I liked so much is that we can go from really deep and really dark into, let's have fun at the same time, right? That's one of the things I really like.
The journey should be fun, And with Tommy, his personality is he's always laughing, isn't he, Tommy? That's just him, you know.
Yeah.
And
well, it's more giggling what he's doing.
Yeah, we always smile when Tommy's around, don't you? There's just that kind of character. He's an entertainer, isn't he, as well as anything else?
Yeah, and we had another entertainer, of course. The last podcast that we had about the minstrel. He's also such a creative entertainer. And I love that diversity on the pod. Yeah.
I applied for about 12 jobs in countries all around the world. Got an interview, chose my favourite, which happened to be in Shanghai, and just flew out there and just turned up. And I remember at the time a lot of my mates were saying, "Nick, you're absolutely mad, mate." It's like this was like a real rash decision, you know what I mean? You just up and left. You gave us a week's notice, you know. I quit all my bands in London and everything. Just went out there. And this is a great example of scarcity. I turned up with like very little money, and when I arrived I had to find a flat. And it turns out the money I had, you had to put a 3-month deposit on any flat that you got. I didn't even have enough to get a flat. And I ended up negotiating with this landlord who had this property which was sort of under development, like it was being built, and he had a builder living in it, and this builder was like sanding the walls and plastering the walls and just repainting the whole place. So the whole place was just dust and plaster and just paint. And he said, yeah, look, you can live here for free until you get your first income from your teaching job. So you can live here for a month for free. And so this was my life for my first month in Shanghai. I was sleeping on a balcony in October. I was sleeping out on the balcony because it was too dusty in the flat. I'd taken a curtain off one of the walls and I'd wrapped myself in that. That was my blanket. Wow. My jeans were my pillow. And the builder was mixing plaster in the bathtub. And so every morning you go in, you'd have a shower, on your way to work, and then you'd have to get out and shower the plaster off your legs. And then you get dressed and then you go to work. Then you do your full day's work and then you just come back to that. And I was just living off, and I was just eating, like instant noodles from the supermarket, like 10p instant noodles. Did that for a month. And I remember thinking, like, what are you doing? Like, this was absolute madness. Like, a bit more preparation could have been nice, a bit more money saved aside could have helped. And looking back on it, it was actually the best move you could make. Was I didn't let scarcity or lack of money stop me from just jumping into it. Yeah. And once I got through that first month and the first paycheck came in, I was laughing. I managed to get a proper flat. We had a good group of mates. I ended up staying out there for like 7 years.
Yeah, Nick, he's just got that desire for freedom, I think. Just like the willingness to just kind of leave everything behind and just head off without a plan, just trust. Okay, I just believe this is what I want to do, and I just trust that it's going to work out, and somehow it just does. If you are really following your passion, somehow the universe just helps you out and just supports you on that journey. If you really are aligned with your purpose, this is what keeps a lot of people trapped, I think, in their lives. Is this fear of, what if the money disappears? I lose the house, and it's actually a really useful exercise. Actually, I've done it a few times where it's like. When I was freelancing, the money was kind of draining away, and it's like getting this anxiety, the panicking a bit. What's going to happen? Are we going to lose the house or what? But just follow that. Okay, what happens if I run out of money? We lose the house. Right, that's bad. Okay, what?
So matter of fact. Yeah, that's okay. It's not great.
Yeah. Well, if you follow it through and you realise, what we probably do is move in.
He sits there suddenly on his chair. House is gone. That's bad. It's raining.
It's bad. It's bad in the moment, but then what happens is you kind of you might downsize. What if we haven't got enough to pay the rent? Well, then we probably move in with my parents or my wife's parents, and then what happens next? Well, we kind of build it back up again.
You carry on living.
So this is kind of phantom fears, aren't they? That stop people taking these kind of risks in life because they're worried about this maintaining this lifestyle, and really. There's nothing there really. There's always there's a safety net somewhere, and you've gone a lot deeper than that, where you literally had nothing and no support, and yet. So what was it that kind of? I know we don't want to go into our own individual pods, but yeah, that was one of my favourite moments. Is your story of in the desert and being bitten by the snake and just preparing for your own death and making the van look nice for your mother to see.
Yeah. I would just play that. Just play that thing.
Tidying
up the van. That is because that's the weirdest bit. I would just play that little bit, narcissistic as I am. I would just play that little bit. Well, okay, so it's all right. Everything is okay. Don't panic. Everything is okay. You're just gonna die. No problem. So you lay down. You got your car in the middle of the desert. I got a beautiful car, beautiful bed in it. Everything is gonna be okay. You're just gonna die. But wait a second, my mom is she's gonna say like, hey, where is he? And then some rangers will find me, or some helicopter crew will find me one day, and they will send pictures to my mom. And I was like, well, so what? My car is a mess. I can't do that to my mom. So, and I'm not even wearing clean underwear. So I started to dress up. And then it was like, oh wait, there's some cigarettes next to the steering wheel, and no, that's not nice. So I started to clean up the car, to make everything nice. So for my mom, when she would get the pictures, that she would be like, oh, at least his bed is tidy and his car is nice and tidy, right? And you don't realize that these are the thoughts in your head, but that makes sense at that moment. And then you go, okay, so then I lay down. And now we're going to lay down, we're going to fall asleep. Luckily, I had a lot of sleeping pills with me. I still had some sleeping pills from my previous episodes that I got from my psychiatrist. So I took all my sleeping pills just to fall asleep and hopefully die peacefully in my sleep. And now you're going to lay down. So you lay down, and I lay down like this. Because, yeah, that's a little bit too much like a knight. I'm not a Knights Templar. I'm going to lay down like this. No, how are they going to find me? This is ridiculous. This is absolutely ridiculous. This is how they're going to find me. I'm going to be cool. No, see, this now suddenly becomes my tomb. This is how they're going to find me. Well, a proper tomb, and I think as myself as a good fighter and a good gentleman and a good leader in inspirational as I can be. So I deserve a proper tomb. So I went back out and I got all kinds of stones and I made a stone circle around my car. I made it as beautiful as I could make it. Until those sleeping pills started to kick in, and I was like, okay, this is the end. And I got back into my car, laid down, got my camera, and recorded the last message. Well, I couldn't record the last message because the moment when you start recording the last message and you talk to your mom going like, sorry, Mom, and sorry I did this, maybe I shouldn't have gone into the desert, you start to get adrenaline, and so your blood starts to go faster, and it will reach my heart, so I will die sooner. So I just left my camera there, ready to record. And I said to myself, the moment I will die, I will wake up. And then I'll record my own death, as in the best way I can. To say sorry and to say all the good things I can.
We've done one each now. Yeah. So, Tony, do you want to go and do your second one, if you know what it is?
Yeah, so for me, that was Jaden's and his Dark Knight, his suicide attempt under a bridge in his car. That really, that was a very powerful anecdote and story that he spoke of on the pod, and it silenced me for a good few hours after we'd finished recording.
My bottom, I was sleeping under a bridge, freezing my ass off, waking up with icicles on my face, eating out of rubbish bins, absolutely no contact with the outside world. I'd always prided myself on getting work, so I knew I could get money if I needed it. So at this stage, just before where I'm talking about now, I went out and got a job, worked for 2 days until I got paid, and then didn't go back. I just wanted that money for alcohol. And the main reason for that is because I had a car that I stole, and I wanted to finally end my life. I'd had an attempt in the past, or a couple of attempts in the past, to end it because I was sick of what was going on. Those were through overdose. But this time, I completely decided that I was going to gas myself in the car. And the only way I felt like I could get the courage to actually do it was to, I remembered back to when I was a young boy and the courage that alcohol gave me. And, so that's where I went with it. And so here I am underneath this bridge in this car, hose set up to the exhaust pipe, back into the window, sitting there sculling this bottle of scotch. Not a person
that wanted to have anything to do with me. And I'm sitting in this desperation thinking that I've lost absolutely everything in my life, starting off with possessions, then to friends and family. All I had was a bag of rags. That's all I had. And, I couldn't, it was beside myself to think that I had lost all this stuff that I knew from that was my life, to know I'd lost it all for a drug that didn't even get me high anymore. So I'd got to that point, well, what is the point? What is the point of going on? What is the point of going on? I've got nothing. I've lost it all for this stupid drug that doesn't even work. So that's where I was at. That, Casper, to answer your question, that's where I was at. And
what stopped you then, Jaden?
Well, what stopped me, Tony, is deep down inside, I didn't want to die, mate. Like, as much as I thought that was the only way out, I didn't want it. I didn't want to die. And my cry for help.
Good choice.
my cry for help was actually, I picked up my phone and it had like 2% charge, because the only way I could charge it was to go to like a McDonald's or something like that, and I was fucking ages away from anywhere like that. And I picked up my phone and I texted my father, and he lived in Australia. He still does live in Australia. And I pretty much said goodbye. And really, that was my cry for help.
What did he say?
First thing he said, because I was absolutely miles away from where I am now. I got in that car to where I went because I didn't want my kids to find me dead.
Yeah, what did he say? Did he answer something there?
He actually just said, can you please let your cousin come and pick you up? Because she was actually in the same town. She was actually in the same town that I'd ended up in. And here's me saying, right, that I've got absolutely no one, I've got all this no help, I've got nothing. But if I actually reached out, there was fucking help there. There was help everywhere. I just was too blind to see it.
Yeah.
I was too proud to ask for it. And to be completely honest, the reason I said yes, she can come and get me, was because I was hungry.
For me, that's sort of stuff that I see in films and TV programs, or you read about someone else happening. But when you speak to someone firsthand who actually regales a situation like that, it's like, whoa! It's to be in that situation and feel that desperate of your life, your situation, the fact that you've so disconnected with your family that you've got to the point where you just don't feel like you can carry on. But thank you for Jaden and his family, and he's got his girls, that he's a doting father again now. But his life had spiralled that much, so he come to that situation. But the fact he managed to turn his life around and get into a recovery program and the 12 steps, and he will always class himself as an addict, but at least he was one of the, I don't want to use the word lucky, but he's one of the, he might count himself lucky that the fact he's got a second chance at life now. That he didn't fully commit to that act and that plan that he had on that particular day in his life, and he was able to start rising like a phoenix from the flames and actually recover from the ashes and build a relationship with his girls, I suppose with his family again, and just getting his life back on track and doing something positive about it. And I love what he's done with his YouTube channel and talking about his addiction to help other people and other addicts trying to in their recovery. So yeah, that was an amazing story that he told, and the fact that it was true life made it 1,000 times more powerful for me. It left me a bit shell shocked. I have to admit afterwards, it was just.
Yeah, that was the only podcast where we just actually ended in silence.
Yeah, that was the most powerful story I think we've had on the pod. But that moment, that just complete change from one moment to the next, that changed his life from death to life, effectively.
Yeah, very powerful.
And then the weird thing is that we went from these really dark moments, sometimes again into these really funny moments. And one of the things you wrote down there, Tony, is Mark's story about the monk, and I want to hear that again. And so let's just listen to it first. It was just funny. Yeah.
Because I remember when I've done sort of meditation retreats in the past, and you think, oh, am I going to do without my phone? But after a day or two of it, you don't miss it at all, because I'm always like checking the sport, the scores, and that used to be my thing, Twitter, checking the football stuff. And amazing how quickly you just kind of forget about it and it's not an issue. I remember saying to this one monk who was leading the retreat, I was saying, oh yeah.
What's the score?
You got the score,
result, mate.
First thing, you say, come on. Who won?
He's got his wireless up in his ear.
I said to him, oh, you know what? I don't miss my phone anymore. When I'm on the sofa now, I'm not going to just pick up my phone when I feel some discomfort. I'm going to actually, feel into the emotion like you should do. And he was going, oh, fantastic, well done, or whatever, something to that effect. But at the end of the retreat then, we all got our phones back and we were all sort of like stood outside the monastery on our phones, and he just kind of walked past.
Lovely picture.
And he sort of like gave me a little knowing smile, he was like, oh yeah, it's got you again. And sure enough, in a couple of days, I'm back on it, and it sucked me back in.
He give you a bit of a glancing look, Mark, or a wry smile?
Yeah, he just gave me a wry smile. Yeah, because he knew it would happen.
Yeah, love that. I've got a favourite one here, and I'm gonna play it right away. Here you go.
Feeling like you're not aware of these things, are you?
No.
Okay. Hey, look, we've got someone on the podcast. We've got
my daughter.
guest on the podcast there. Hello.
Say hello, Lydia.
Who are you?
Hello.
This is Lydia, my eldest daughter.
That's the wrong side. That's the right side.
All right, thank you, baby girl. Have you a coaster?
You're a coaster? Wow, look at that.
Made me a coaster.
That's awesome.
That's real life there, guys.
Yeah, I love it.
Beautiful, yeah.
Absolutely amazing. My favourite thing there is that we try to be serious and we're talking about really complex things in life. We haven't talked about the Flory point yet because that was one of the most complex things, except for the toilet repairman. But of course, we are at a certain age. We've learned a lot. We know a lot. We talk about really complex stuff. And like you just said, you need to have like this on-air kind of red light above your door. Because children just don't have that. They go like, yeah, and this is what inspires me so much about that is that yes, you can talk about really complex stuff. Well, hey, a coaster is actually better. Look, I made you a coaster. Yeah, that's actually more fun. And it's more fun to do that than to talk about philosophy and spirituality and everything. And I love that balance and how we got, and the podcast got dragged out of that by the kids. I really love that. And then when we went like, no, we try to be serious. We're grown-up men. We try to be serious. We can never win from their childish playfulness, and it's brilliant. I found that was absolutely one of my favourite moments.
You can get a lot of lessons from kids, I think.
Yeah.
That's one of them. It's just like, when I do these work calls, and Lilia will come up and just be like, "Daddy, can I see?" You're like, "No." I'm trying to be serious, and she's like, "I want to see." And also the other thing that I get from her is this living in the moment. Like we often hear that a lot, but little kids, they do completely live in the moment and they accept everything. And when you talk about, oh, we're going to do this tomorrow, it's like, no, we're going to see so and so tomorrow. What now? It is completely in the moment, and this just spontaneous It can be the other way as well, but spontaneous joy. They're just suddenly just start jumping on the sofa or on the bed or jumping in puddles. It's like,
all in the.
Oh yeah, remember to have fun,
This is
guys.
one of my favorite things with your Instagram and your Facebook post. My favorite thing is that you almost every day post a video of your kid jumping puddles. And this is my favorite thing as well, jumping puddles. I love jumping puddles.
Peppa Pig does.
Why shouldn't we? And that makes my day. It literally makes my day. Just seeing her just jumping the puddle and going, this is fun. and we all go like, it should not.
Oh, you get your trousers wet, you get your shoes wet, and it's just like, no, I'm not worried about any of that. All the consequences of this. I just want to jump in the puddle because it's fun. Yeah. And we often forget that in life, don't we? As you grow older, it's like, oh no, I wouldn't just jump on the sofa for no reason. Someone might think I was crazy or something.
Love that.
Start jumping around on the bed or something.
Why not? I'm not going to jump on the sofa for no reason. That's a brilliant life quote. That's a brilliant quote. It is that fun. This is not a podcast about three grumpy old men talking. It's about life and freedom. And the best way to show freedom is a child.
They want to play. Yeah, they just want to play.
Want to play.
Nice.
Beautiful. I love that.
I say to my girls sometimes, I say, I'd happily swap. I'd love to be you again. You be me for a day.
But why is it that we lose that along the way, isn't it? And that's maybe what part of what this pod is about, really. Is as we grow older, it's like we become more restricted and boxed in and serious.
Society grabs a hold of you, doesn't it?
Yeah, and that's what we're trying to do, really, isn't it? To free ourselves again, physically from unfulfilling jobs or careers in a way, but also from that mindset of just being like life is serious and life isn't fun anymore. It's about earning money, it's about responsibilities, but it doesn't have to be like that. No. It can be. Life can be fun, if you can work on your mindset, free yourself physically and mentally. I think.
Find your inner child again.
Yeah. Well, I'll just go on to my final quote, which is we mentioned it earlier from Florrie's pod, which we can play now.
Be still and know I am God. These words are all synonymous. It's like be still, knowing I am, the state I am, God. It's all words into one concept. So I was like, who is asking the question? And I realized that it's just another thought. Because when you are there, you already are there, but we need to get there gradually when the concentration dissolves, when you don't need to concentrate on anything, because you saw that thoughts have no power over you, but you need to create that space. And to create that space, you need to meditate. And for me, meditation, it's not a doing anymore. At the beginning, it was a doing. I felt like doing something. Right now, I'm keeping that knowingness and that awareness the more it's possible. So it's like meditating constantly. Like everything that I'm doing in a conscious way. Like talking with you right now, I fully feel my body. I feel like breathing into my stomach, into my belly. I feel that my feet are a little cold. And I am fully present into my body as awareness. I am awareness into my body right now. But I am also aware that I am in a dimension where it's still duality. We still have emotions, we still have feelings, we still have a body, and that is important to know, because if we go too high on this, too high, we need to come to touch the earth again, to be in touch with matter.
Yeah, I love that one.
We could have picked any other quotes from that pod because it was so profound, and I think it was so deep that I know Tony had a problem getting his head around it.
Blew me away.
Yeah, there's many quotes from that I could pick out, but one that particularly hit home for me, and something that I've dealt with along the way, is this idea that he talked about when we're awakening, and when we're ready for integration, becoming an alchemist, turning the dark into light. And she initially thought when all the darkness was coming up, all the demons were coming up, that she was somehow doing it wrong, like that she was somehow getting this spiritual practice wrong. But she realized now that is part of awakening, to face your shadows, and by giving them space with awareness, you can turn them into light by just letting it be, giving it loving awareness. So that's a really profound insight, I think, for that I've come to realize as well. So if I had to pick out one quote, it would be that. But there's another incredible teaching in there which we can hopefully play as well.
Yeah, sure.
But there are those ones who have such a deep and heavy mental activity that they really need to quiet their mind. But you need to learn how to do that.
I do. I know well, and I am working on it, because that's something for sure. Thank you for that, Florrie. That was great.
Well, it's my pleasure to serve. I will give you a little nugget as man. Just see me as a sister if you can.
Yeah.
Meditation will give you the best sex you'll ever have in your life.
I agree on that. I fully agree on that.
That's brilliant. There you go, Tony.
All so different. It feels like 10 hands are touching you when you unite with the other person, which is with the same frequency like yours. I mean, if you are having sex with a woman and she is still sleeping, you are here vibrationally and she is there.
Yeah.
What happens is that she can't arrive here and you will never choose to go there because it stinks, you don't like it. It's a mind place, you don't like it. So
I think that's a good marketing strategy you got there.
There's your avatar, Florrie.
It's something I think that makes us very kind of uptight and a bit kind of a bit nervous in the West. Maybe it's a guy thing, but talking about like sexual energy and the best way to deal with sexual energy. And she's so free with the way she talks about it, and it's a powerful teaching that I'm kind of starting to get into myself at the moment, and that she teaches the best way to deal with this kind of sexual energy, and you can use it actually for awakening and manifesting.
Yeah.
Rather than, as most people do, most guys do, is kind of just release it as quickly as possible. If you know the techniques, you can use this energy, which when you think about it really is the energy of creation, and you can use it in a very positive way to actually advance your own evolution. And that was profound for me because I hadn't really come into contact with that before. And it's something that, since speaking to her about it, is changing my life in the way that I, view that kind of thing, where I think we're kind of inclined to not talk about that stuff. Oh, what, you can't talk about like sex or sexual energy. But the way she talks about it has really changed my view on that. So that's been a really important teaching for me that I got from that one.
Yeah, we talked about that in an earlier post. I can't really remember where it was. We talked about life taboos. And so it's not even a taboo.
Yeah.
We talked about like how weird it is that sex is a taboo. But we need it. I mean, this is the basic foundation of life.
We've got to procreate, haven't we? If we're gonna.
Yeah, it's like
persist as a race.
Yeah.
Why is the main foundation of continuing life a taboo? It's such a strange thing. And so that's why I really like that as well. Yes. And I'll give credits to her on how she did it, because Tony was a bit blown away, and she just ended up with like, "But you can have great sex." And you were like, "What?"
What?
It was just beautiful.
Say what?
Yeah, I really love that moment as well. I really love that. That was amazing.
Yeah, she's really free when it comes to talking about that kind of stuff, and that was really refreshing. To hear somebody who's just like, sexual energy. It's amazing. Use it.
But this is what we talked about earlier so many times. It's like fears and social fears. It's a social conditioning that talking about sex is a taboo.
Yeah.
So it is a social thing, and she just broke that barrier. And whether it's fear of doing the things you want to do and things you love in life, that's all based around fears. And she just broke through that, and I really loved that absolutely as well. Yeah.
Yeah, she hasn't got any fears, has she? Spiritually, she's just totally a free spirit.
She is a free spirit, but we all have to deal with that ego side of us as well. I don't think we are ever going to get to the point where we don't have to deal with our minds and our egos. That for me is true freedom, when you can free yourself from your thinking mind. But it's I think it happens at the right time for everybody. And it's certainly, I wouldn't say to Tony like, oh, you need to start meditating to free yourself from your mind. It's not.
Love that. Yeah.
It's not necessarily. It happens at the right time, if that makes sense. Like you might feel at some point, Tony, okay, I want to explore this, but in the meantime, I wouldn't say to my neighbour like, oh, you need to start understanding this. It's like, just let it happen. It'll happen when it should happen. It's not for everybody to suddenly start waking up and realising this stuff. That's what I mean by that.
It'll happen organically almost.
Yeah. I think you'll just know when the time's right to start exploring that side of things. But great to speak to someone like that who's like fully on that path and is so happy to talk about it so freely. There's no kind of fear around talking about this kind of stuff, which I think a lot of people would feel.
When we talk about all those difficult things, the things where we go into spirituality, and keeping that balance with the real life, the life that we are actually in, because it's a balance between. It's almost like the dream state. So are you alive when you're dreaming? Are you alive when you are awake? It's a really, really difficult thing. And one of my favorites there is the moment where you said, when Mark, you said you came back from an ayahuasca trip, which is really, really deep trip. And I just wanted to play that clip for a second.
Yeah, that was one mistake I made. I went to, we talked about it on the pod before, I went to Peru and I did an ayahuasca retreat. I completely reconnected with nature, completely cleansed myself. And they advised that you take a week off after that to reintegrate. And I went straight back into work and it was just awful. Absolutely awful.
Still tripping balls.
To have your consciousness expanded like that and be such a high vibration and come back and you can see the people around you in a new light. You can see how kind of sad everybody is in these office environments,
Yeah, you're very sensitive to it all, aren't you?
Yeah. Whereas normally you just think, oh, here we go to work again. We'll do another day in front of a monitor. When you've had your mind blown like that, and then you come back and see all these amazing human beings just like robots in front of a computer, it was sad to see. It took me a while to readjust, but like you say, once you've expanded your consciousness like that, it's not really going to go back to how it was completely. And I hope it doesn't. I hope I never go back to a point where I'm like, oh, you know what? I'll just settle for a 9-to-5 job and see out my days. I just can't see it happening now. I just think my eyes are opened, and it's about opening other people's eyes. And coming back to the UK and just seeing human beings in a line of desks plugged into machines, just kind of doing jobs that didn't fulfill them. It was like the Matrix or something.
Absolutely agree.
Like all of a sudden going...
It is the Matrix, yeah.
Being plugged into the Matrix again. It was like, wow, okay. Yeah, I could suddenly see, I don't know how it happens, but we all get programmed, don't we? As in, this is the way life is. You can't be, for whatever reason, you can't be fully happy, I suppose, or fulfilled. We just kind of accept these lives where we just kind of are just mundane and just earning money to grow these big, massive corporations instead of thinking about our own happiness and fulfillment. But yeah, it hit home for me there, just seeing that. But
absolutely,
we've got to do these things. We were saying before the pod, we do need to do these things in the meantime but at least now we've got a path to find freedom and fulfillment. But in the meantime, we have to support our lives and support our businesses somehow. And this is how we're doing it.
100%.
Yeah, and the thing that actually really got me thinking was what Linnea said about that you need someone else to believe in you. Let me just play that one because I found that quite fascinating.
Because courage, I think, is a really fascinating thing. It isn't something that we can develop just for ourselves, and you need that,
you need
someone else that will, when you get down to the smallest crumbles and I can't do this, then you need someone else to believe that you can. Then you have courage.
Yeah. You need that comforting arm around you sometimes, don't you? Whether it's literally or figuratively, just to say, look, you can do this. I know you can. They believe in you. They encourage you. It can just take you up tenfold, can't you? And your confidence rises again. Because as we've said many times in this podcast, we're all human.
One of my favourite episodes from this last series was when we had Ruta, who is a life transformation coach, we delved deeper into the subject of mindset and what it takes to transform your life. Obviously, this is all a battle that takes place internally within our minds, and something that comes up a lot on this journey of creating your own digital business is law of attraction, and something that we've all found a lot about, I'm sure, on this journey. And it's really about using visualization techniques and meditation to imagine that ideal future that you're looking to create and connect with that future version of yourself, so that you can step into that reality and create that abundance that you're looking for in your life. So this is one of my favorite clips from that episode.
The unconscious mind doesn't know the difference between what's visualized or imagined and what is actually real. And that's the power of visualization, because you keep on visualizing and your unconscious mind is like, oh, so I already have it.
Yeah.
How great is that? And because your unconscious mind already feels like it already has it all, therefore your behavior changes, your frequency changes, like what Mark just mentioned also about the frequencies. That's really important. And then you kind of even unconsciously step into this new personality, new identity of yourself, and you do things in a different way because your unconscious believes that this is who you are already.
Interesting how it sort of makes you feel like you've already stepped into your future self and living that life that you're envisaging and trying to manifest for yourself, and how that can then help you with your state of flow and getting into the groove of your business, of your work, and not feel like you're working almost. And that's something that Roloff now goes into in this next quote.
Isn't creativity more coming from the head and the passion more from the heart?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Well,
I like that.
I think it's coming from somewhere else. I think you're right there. I think it's the heart, yes, and I think also, when we talk about flow state, I don't know if we talked about it on the pod before, is this idea that you're kind of
we haven't
step
yet.
Outside of the mind.
We're definitely going to talk about that. We're definitely
because that
really
is,
getting into the
that,
flow.
That is when you know. That is when you know you're working on your passion, because you almost go behind the mind. Outside of time, almost, is what they talk about. So you're not even like aware. Hours can fly by when you're working on this. Something Tony talks about when he works on his digital business stuff is that hours fly by and you almost don't want to go to bed. It's like, oh my God, it's midnight already. I've got to go to bed, but I'm in the flow state. And people.
I'm on a roll, and
you hear that a lot with people who do sport. It's kind of you get into flow state, and it's like
play the piano.
Yeah, you almost don't realise that you're doing it. You're on a different level entirely, and the idea is that it's kind of tapped into an awareness state, or a conscious state that is beyond the mind. And I think if you find that, like you say, if you're playing an instrument, it's like you step
beyond
time, and that's really that flow state is when you're really in your passion and in your
element. I have it when I'm standing in the bar drinking beer. Then I'm really in my element.
I was fly by.
You're in full flow. I'm really in the flow.
Wait. There is a difference. There's a difference between losing the concept of time or getting home and saying to your girlfriend, sorry, I forgot the time.
I was drunk.
There's a really big difference between those two.
We're getting to the end of the hour here, and just from the top of your minds, so we've done 14 podcasts here. We got so many amazing guests. It's been a bloody long journey, an amazing journey. You guys want to share some what did you learn? How was the journey for you? Tony?
The journey's been amazing. Dare I say it, but it's been a roller coaster.
Hey, that's the coaster again.
Coaster in there again.
I want some sound effect put in there afterwards. Scream if you want to go faster. Yeah, it has.
I love that one. That should be my life slogan, actually. I'm gonna put that on a t-shirt. I love that. Scream if you want to go faster. Yeah, I love that.
Scream if you want to go faster. No, it's been amazing.
Have you got some main learning points there?
For me, from this podcast is struggles. I think struggles with life and particularly mental struggles. That's been a big eye-opening for me. I had some own mental health issues last year, and it sort of woke me up to it. Not always been the cases that I've affected myself, and it always been that I'm naive, but it always been the case that it happened to other people. So having that affect myself last year, and then listen to other people's struggles and various degrees of mental health issues, personal issues, spiritual issues, and it's really taught me a lot, I have to say. I'd like to think I'm an empathetic person anyway, but I've found a whole new level and then some of empathy for people. The fact that, and I count myself quite lucky in the situation I am, and my family, and I'm probably a million times more grateful now than I was before we started this podcast. So yeah, I'll take that. Definitely a lot of gratitude away from this for me personally.
Amazing.
Yeah, and I really want to say that I'm really proud of the way this podcast has gone. You know, we started off talking about digital business, digital skills, but it's gone off in an amazing direction. The depth of the stories we've had so far, I mean, absolutely incredible, and far exceeded anything that I expected in this first series. And one thing that keeps coming up is this dark night of the soul, as I keep talking about. But for me, there's a reason for that, because it's in these really dark, difficult moments of life that big changes happen, and that people really evolve towards their potential. And I think it's really interesting that, you know, the different routes that everyone has taken to get to the same point of creating a digital business around their passions. You know, whether it's Jaden, near the brink of suicide, or Florian, a Kundalini awakening in India. Very different, but still profound journeys to the same point of creating a digital business around their passion and purpose. And it's given me really a new-found respect for this journey that we're all on of creating a digital business. Initially, it might sound like quite a sort of dry subject, you know, digital skills, digital business, but it really is a profound journey of empowering yourself, creating something around your own passion and purpose, learning ways to create your own living, your own way of earning money, and not having to rely on someone else. So that's really what I've taken out of this first series, is that newfound respect for this incredible journey that we're all a part of.
Well said, mate. Well said.
Yeah.
Wrap it up, Cass.
The main thing that I've learned here is work together. I see that everyone, and you know the old saying, right? Like, everyone's got a good book in them, and and the thing there is that I wrote a book, and then what? Now you got a book. Now what? You need to do marketing. You need to do this and then that. And the main thing, what I see here, is that next to the fact that we had, of course, amazing people sharing their amazing stories, is that we decided to start a podcast. And we said, like, hey, let's do a podcast. Let's just go for it. Jump in. Let's just do it. How does it work? I don't know. And it was like, so I said, well, I know how microphones work. Mark is good at Instagram. Tony, you're good at the whole technical background. And then together, it stands. Together, it's something. And for me, I know from my experience that sharing stories, whether it's our own stories or other people's stories, you might have one like or one listener, it doesn't really matter. If you have changed one life, or inspired one life, or maybe planted one seed that can become a tree later on, And that seed has been planted by teamwork. That is for me the most important thing here, that we work together and we got the drive together, we keep each other in check as well. We make sure that we have, okay, Monday, boom, that's what we do, that's how we do it. That for me is the absolute learning curve here. And for me as well, personally, I can say I'm quite an Einzelgänger, as we used to say. Like I let me just do it myself, or let me just I don't want to talk to people. I love talking to people, but just let me do it myself or whatsoever. And then suddenly I've got 2 teammates, and the things that I can do and I'm good at, I do that, and the things I cannot do, someone else picks it up. Someone else picks up the ball. That is absolutely brilliant. That's absolutely inspiring, and that was for me the main thing that I've learned here. Work together, use each other's knowledge, and of course the whole spiritual thing and the whole scientific thing and the build your own business things, all the information that we gave, it will change one life. And I really don't care if I will die tomorrow. In 10 years' time, this content will still be there. And someone will listen to this. Maybe now, maybe in 10 years' time. And someone will go, I'm inspired by that. I'm going to change my life and I'm going to change the world and I'm going to do things for the better. That's for me. And we did that, the 3 of us. And by working together, that's for me. I get tears in my eyes when I say that, seriously, because that is for me the big learning point. Working together and changing lives together is absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
Beautiful, man.
I want to thank you guys for that as well. Really want to thank you guys for that. That's, Love that. What an amazing season this has been. And I think that we all have got that moment where you had on one of the pods there, Tony, going, whew, what a journey. And that's the best feeling ever. And now we got the hibby-jibbies, as I know that, and I said to you guys as well, like, I missed the pod. I know we're gonna be back soon. We're gonna be back really, really soon. New stories, new angles, new things that we can share with the world, and other people can share with the world. Absolutely.
Awesome. Woo! Adios.
Adios, thanks, amigos.
Mucho gracias.
Talk to you soon.
You have been listening to
The Free Amigos.
Hey there, hope you've really enjoyed listening or watching to the conversation today. And as promised, we have all the links to the topics discussed in the description below and also on our website.
And if you're watching this on YouTube, please feel free to hit that subscribe button or follow the link to our brand new website where you can sign up to our weekly newsletter.
Thank you for watching or listening. We hope you got something good out of it. If you've got any interesting topics you'd like us to discuss or any questions, please don't hesitate to get in touch. And that's it. See you in the next pod. Adios.
Cheers.